Estelle here with another great discussion as part of the CPAS Acceleration Alliance. Today, two fantastically interesting new members and industry gurus. Today, Dawn Marie Elder from Scipio and Philippe Beck of Luware. How are you folks?
Very
Very
good.
good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good, good. So, the CPAS Acceleration Alliance is a community focused on accelerating the growth, education, adoption of real time communications platforms. And you folks are right in the middle of it. So, let's start off with some introductions. Dawn Marie Elder, I saw your presentation at Enterprise Connect earlier this year in the Innovation Showcase. You do amazing work. Introduce yourself and Scipio.
Sure. So, hi, I'm Dawn Marie Elder, COO and General Manager at Scipio. Scipio is a voice enablement company that helps our ecosystem of channel partners and carriers really bring voice services into the world of collaboration and build a healthy revenue practice around that.
Fantastic. And your background in the industry goes a little ways back. Tell us about your journey
Sure.
into the COO role at Scipio.
Yeah. So I was a programmer and then a DBA by trade. Moved, through the ranks as people do as they mature in their careers. Actually, with Microsoft, into sales and channel sales roles positions. Then I did a 5-year stint at Avaya, which I think anybody that's connected with telephony in this world has had some experience either with that or Nortel, some of their predecessors. So it's just kind of funny that starting in 2018, 19-ish with Microsoft and direct routing, that those two worlds finally came together.
They did, and tremendous opportunity for you and your customers. We'll switch over to Philip Beck from the Schöne Stadt of Zurich in the Schweiz. We won't do this in German, Philippe, but introduce yourself, your background, and who is Luware?
Yeah, thanks even for having me here today. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Luware. We believe that in every interaction, there is an opportunity to create value, and we want to empower the people to communicate effectively. While we're doing that with engage or bringing all tools together into the Microsoft UC stack for everything with collaboration, communication, and contact centers, basically. So this is where we are coming from, or where we're going to as well. And yeah, we have kind of history, as you asked before, Marie, about where she's coming from. We basically do enhancing the Microsoft UC stack since about 14 years. Started with way back in OCS times, where we wanted to integrate contact center functionality actually into the UC stack of Microsoft, because at some time that's definitely going to need it. We believed in, and so therefore there was one thing which was really great and interesting to have that on a journey. And now 14 years later, we do exactly the same with Teams, right? That's kind of integrating all those stuff which Microsoft doesn't provide out of the box into the Teams stack, so that users can just use Teams and get the functionality they expect. As you said, Marie, from Avaya, where they had a contact center, or Nortel, or whatever it was in the past they had, or they still have, and they would like to move that all into a single client. And that's where we help actually getting those functionalities within the Microsoft ecosystem.
Great. Well, great to have two such experienced folks with a background in Microsoft technology, because we're going to dive into Microsoft, explore the good and occasionally not so good aspects, including Azure, which is an amazing platform that's being used for building communications applications. Before we do that, you maybe dive into, why did you join the CPAS Acceleration Alliance, or KPASA as we affectionately call it? Maybe you can talk firsthand, Dawn Marie, about what was your interest in the alliance and what do you hope to get out of it?
Sure. So voice services, as we know them, have been around for a very long time. over 100 years now. And we've seen over the last couple of years where it's really changed rapidly after being a standalone phone system for so long. It's now a feature in collaboration, but I believe it is a feature, and there's so much more that's coming down the pike. And I believe that do you call it KPASA? The KPASA Alliance is really going to help us look at the landscape of what's coming and really prepare for that. We sell what we have in the here and now, but our innovators and our developers are already doing roadmaps for what we think might happen 3 to 5 years out. And I really believe, CPAS is a lot of that glue of stitching together what's coming. And we need your help and expertise, as well as the rest of the collective membership, to kind of guide that and mold it to see what this is going to evolve into.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited about the organization and its ability for just open information sharing, knowledge sharing, educating not just ourselves, because this is a great education here, but each other on best practices and go to market. And there's a lot we can learn from each other. Even in some case, companies that are competing, can still have a friendly co-opetition kind of mindset. Thanks for that. And Philip, what about you? You're a new member. What are you hoping to gain, not just from the alliance, but as part of this ecosystem?
Yeah, I think UC as a service is kind of got a commodity from my point of view. Not everyone has it yet, but it kind of there is a clear path to get there. Now, when you look on what's happening in the industry, is that the communication stack really moves further, right, and gets easier accessible for developers. Now, the communication stacks moves into a platform, and now if you define that or sell that as it is common sense today as a service, that's definitely something which will drive the industry around that for the next couple of years. So I really strongly believe in communication platform as a service, making it easy to use, getting it Power Automate integration to actually get some stuff easily done, for example, with our tools. And there is where this alliance was so interesting for me, to get to the people who have similar interests, who have similar problems, who have a possibility to discuss certain topics which are not that very well known in the market today, but with other industry leaders or other people who think or who might think where the industry is going, and get it challenged. Is this the right thing we're going to do as a product development house or a service provider? Is this what the customer is looking for in the next 2 years? Or is that nothing we just came up in our head and, oh yeah, it's nice to build something like this, but it's not really customer value? And that's actually what I'm looking for to get out of that alliance, getting to know people with similar interests and drive the industry forward.
Great. Well, I'd encourage folks to check out the website and the link in the post. And Dawn Marie, maybe describe what Scipio does exactly and how it relates to the CPaaS market for those who are curious, interested, and what is your role in this ecosystem today?
Okay, so quite simply, we put the voice services into Microsoft Teams and also into Zoom. So that means we're either bringing our own dial tone, or we're leveraging the dial tone of a carrier partner that might be white labeling our platform. We're funneling that dial tone to facilitate the ability to use Teams or Zoom as a phone, in addition to a meeting and an instant messaging and a sharing tool. To bring that call in and out of the collaboration platform. So we have put the platform together, and we're doing the routing and the call control, the enablement of that. And then it's wrapped all together with a nice big bow on the top, with a completely GUI interface and presentation layer to allow the IT administrator or anybody else within an organization, quite frankly, to quickly and easily be able to manage their voice environment without a lot of overhead or costs associated with it.
Fantastic. And the much needed, necessary, important function today. How do you see your role evolving as CPaaS evolves over the next year or two or more? What is your platform, just looking forward, will do in the near future?
So I think voice is kind of a table stakes. It's something that when you pick up that phone in the old days, it was the avocado green one hanging in your mom's kitchen, or the princess phone that my sister had in her bedroom. You just expect it to work, right? But voice is also a really cool asset if you think about it. There's a lot that's happening around video in this area with insights, transcription, different things that come back from the meeting in terms of information to the people that participated. But every time you make a phone call, that's also a voice asset. And I think a lot of different organizations and companies will want to start seeing what value they can get out of that voice asset. And they may come
Mm.
up with really cool ideas to create applications that tell you how many times I've said during my presentation on this live stream, right? Or you might have other things where it's listening in for potential HR considerations, compliance considerations, or helping a typical salesperson that's on a mobile device doing calls, to their customers with their sales presentations and giving constructive criticism as to how he or she approached that conversation. So we are providing the base, which is the voice, in order to get ready for future to turn that voice now into an asset that can be monetized and
Mm.
leveraged within an organization.
I love that. The appification of voice, such a interesting phenomenon. And Philip, again, describe your business at Luware today, what you offer customers and how Luware will evolve as CPaaS, 2 and 3.0 kind of evolves.
You have to count it up continuously. Let's see if we're gonna survive until it's 10.0 or so. No, but we at Luware, we do when Domri brings it into Visipio, into a Microsoft Teams stack, right? We are one of the most needed applications on top of that. So when I'm gonna move all the telephony into Teams, I typically have at some point customer service, even if it's internal or external customer service, that then there is a routing needed because not a single number goes to a single user. So there needs a logic in between. And there it's really interesting when you think about that and getting the logic into CRM, and CRM decides where the customer goes. Or even at the very beginning, you're going to identify the customers through CRM and then use the application to say, hello, Domri, how can I help you today? Right? Because all of that is based on application. And there is where the real power comes when it is on a CPaaS or UCaaS platform, and we actually have it and are able to do stuff there, right? And we have it today with Teams, and there is many, many stuff. And you heard the Build and Enterprise Connect, everything about co-pilots there, and in this application and there. There is almost no application from Microsoft where Copilot hasn't been announced or is already there. And I think guiding users or helping users there, this will be one thing where CPaaS, you can only do that with a CPaaS platform. And it's kind of a P with another platform or with another P. But I think that's really interesting. When you have the foundation and you are modern enough that you have the possibility to actually build some stuff like that, then it's just, blow your mind. You have access to the voice stream, you have access to the data. You just need to connect the dots at the right time with the right other application, and then you get really value out of it for the company and the end as well for the customer, for the end customer, especially in customer service scenario, who is calling and would like to get an answer fast and the right one. There is really a lot of value we can help create or unleash within the organization.
Fantastic. So traditionally, contact center, whatever you call it, call center, customer service has been a separate silo from enterprise voice. So you're seeing those lines, those barriers being broken down.
Oh yeah, dramatically, yes. You have had a lot of, let's say, a lot of the traditional call centers, as you said, right? They became contact centers. We talk about omni-channel and all that stuff, but there was always in the silo of the customer service app. And you always get into the problem that, yeah, what's going to happen if the contact center agent can solve the problem? Now, as we moved in a lot of IVR, self-service, and the web got much better, people typically get a lot of help through web or even self-service IVRs. Now, if they reach out to an agent or to the organization, they really have a problem which is not easily be solved through an app or through the website or wherever else I can consume information. So they really have something complex. And those complex things typically are not being able to solve by a classic agent. Agent needs much more training, probably works in the back office at some time, and then you need to have a possibility to hand that call over to use your whole organization rather than just a department for doing customer service. Because that's at the end, I think what it's in a lot of organizations should be, right? It's customer centric. You should work around how can I serve my customer, and why only use 10% of your organization to answer questions when you have a subject matter expert somewhere. You probably don't want to use him for the easy ones, yes, but if it's got really complex, then you want to pull him in to solve that request easily and fast. And that's where I see companies going more and more into the direction of, yes, the contact center, as you said it before, or call center should be part of the internal telephony or UC environment and not be a silo which is just next to.
Yeah.
Dawn Marie, you're shaking your head vigorously, so I think.
But I love what Philip said, because the contact center or the customer should be in the middle, right? But then you have all these different other resources and team members within an organization that are having customer touch points. Like we have channel account managers, and they're talking with partners and on occasion customers, but they're not part of a contact center. But CPaaS is a way to bring some of that information and some of that technology to bring those assets together and make it more fluid, as opposed to the siloed approach of, oh, well, let me connect you with so-and-so. Okay, let me now set up another meeting with somebody else. And I think that that's really important, and it's going to make the contact center even more important to most organizations, because it's going to bring in pieces from there's the rest of the collective org.
Great point. Steve Forkum chimes in, about lowering TCO and, with pretty great ROI for companies leveraging the platforms like yours. Is that one of the key elevator pitches in this time of, reduced budgets and, reduced tech spending? Philippe, I'll come to you first. Is, what are the economics that you're seeing for these kind of solutions?
So there are two ways to look at that, right? Or two clusters we see, I have to say. One cluster is on, yes, we would like to move everything to Teams because maintaining 10 or 20 different PBXs worldwide is just a hassle and a support nightmare. And they all run out of service at some point. So bringing into one system where we can all telephone and collab. And I'm definitely not saying that a phone number needs to go away or company will not have a phone number anymore, or that the telephone system will go away at all. No, that's definitely not. It will be consolidated into one platform so everyone can actually use that within the company, and there are no different support systems. So that's one where definitely a return on invest is easily calculatable. And then you have the innovation. I would like to deliver outstanding customer experience for my customers, right? I would like to have that possibility to easily hand over to an expert. I would like to have that to easily bring in an expert into a conversation, or just chatting to him to get my questions answered. And this needs to be on one single platform. And I just think that's really, really important for those. That's not on the return on invest by saying, okay, I would like to cut cost. But the return on invest is more on the customer side. Oh, yes, I get more healthy customer by means of customer who will stick with me, because when they reach out, they have a good experience. That's probably once a year. And when that happens, they figured out for themselves, I can shine in that moment, rather than just treat it as something I'm going to throw away and don't do anything really cool about it, just serving the customer. No, I can do a really good job there, and that prevents churn or customer actually leaving.
Yeah, great point. And Dawn Marie, what's your take on it's not just cost cutting, it's not just
I totally agree. I mean, I think most people want, especially in this world of collaboration with Microsoft, how do you get and how do you increase your ROI? You use all of the features, not just some of them. So if you can get these applications working to together to collectively round out that customer experience. So when they do call, they have a great customer experience. As Philippe said, they're not going to necessarily want to move away. You've made yourself sticky by servicing them, and you have brought more into your business because customer acquisition costs are usually one of the highest costs in an organization. But now you have kind of lowered that because you've kept them with you longer.
great points. So let's shift gears a little bit to the technology side. You're both key Microsoft partners, and Microsoft Azure's Communication Services business, ACS, is a relatively new kid on the block, but really a really interesting enabler. Tell us about that, Philip, in terms of how you're leveraging ACS and how you see ACS as a game changer.
Oh, how do I start? It's a new game. It's a game changer, right? It gives us much more possibilities than what we have on the technical side with Graph and Teams today. So that's definitely one thing you need to consider. When we talk about bridging in customer service scenario, why do I need to call if I'm in the app? So I would like to get my context from the app or from the website transferred to the agent. Then everyone has an app on the phone, or not everyone, but a lot of people has an app on the phone, so they could reach out through that. There is somewhere where ACS is dramatically helping as well when you go for web communication. And there it's not only chat, right? It's audio, video, what we have built with a customer who did a fancy virtual bank shop about 1.5 years ago. So that was really, really cool. And this is all based on the ACS technology. And we see there is a tremendous power, interestingly, within Microsoft in pushing that ACS forward, even more than what we have seen in the last couple of months and years on the Teams and Graph APIs. And that's really interesting as well. If you look on the documentation pages with ACS, they are really updating much faster than the ones you see on the side of Teams, because they have so tremendous power to actually get that developed. And I like that, and my developers do as well. And it's, on the other hand, even faster than what we see on Graph with Teams. So that's a really cool possibility to go there. And for very technical guys, ACS gives us access to the underlying stack of Teams directly, right? So they didn't build that from scratch again. It's basically the underlying architecture. And therefore, it gives us all the possibilities which we have with Teams, when not even more. And we are looking in a couple of stuff directly with the product group in Redmond. I'm sorry, I can't tell you here right now, but you will see that.
Oh, there's no one listening. Only a few thousand people. Don't worry.
No, but it's a really funny journey. We have done that with Microsoft throughout the last 10 years, I would say, right? We are working together with them on the API side to make the product or the APIs in a way that we actually can use to build products which our customers can use. And now with ACS, we see that again. And this is this makes so much fun and is empowering, because we also can build solutions which really our customers love, and not just, oh yeah, there is another technology and we just need to adopt that. When they see the value which comes out of it, that's dramatically.
Fantastic. And Dawn Marie, you know, as a former Microsoft insider, this isn't your Microsoft you remember from years ago. Under Satya, it's a pretty radically different organization. How are you working both with Microsoft and with the Azure team to innovate?
So our solution that we brought to market back in 2019 is based on the Azure platform. we just get so much goodness from everything that they have developed, and it's allowed us to, be highly available globally around the world without issues. Our support tickets are so ridiculously low. Our support, our head of support's like the Maytag man, if you remember that commercial from when we
I
were
do.
kids, that he was sitting around never having anything to do. So we're going down the ACS path because it's just really a natural extension of what we're doing today. And now we have another connection with Microsoft for voice services and everything that comes together with those voice services through CPaaS. And what we're doing with the Microsoft team is we're really working with them to help enable their partners, carriers, and some of our strategic partners like Blueware launch into a marketplace so that they can monetize their offers. So we don't necessarily create the APIs or put those together, but we're helping other people that are doing this development to determine how do they bring that to market and how do they best serve that to their customer and leverage all the pieces and parts to bring together a user experience or a customer experience that's really compelling and meets the specific needs of that particular customer as opposed to being, more generalized.
Fantastic. And let me ask you about, customers. What are some of and I'll start with Philip, the industries, the verticals, where are you seeing the most traction today? And how do you see that evolving? Are there particular sweet spots in the world of enterprise or niches or verticals where you're saying, wow, this is a great opportunity for us and, and those clients?
So there's, yeah, it's a little bit hard to answer that question.
Mm.
I think from what we see our customers today, it's through all our industries, all the industries. It's kind of not a single one which points out today,
Great.
right? Everyone can use that technology. When you talk about customer sizes, then it's the larger ones because of customer service is not needed for a 10-person company, right? It starts about 100 or 500 plus employees where we see our typical customer service tools being used. However, saying that, it's really interesting. I thought it would be more finance insurance at the very beginning.
Right.
But when I looked on the numbers, they were equally the same manufacturing on it, where I thought, how the hell did that happen? But yeah, as I said, at the end of the day, everyone who actually needs to serve their customers through customer service they build internally can actually use the software. So, and this really opens it up. And with the platform being as it has been built, and Dawn Marie, you have been part of Microsoft in the past, right? As Microsoft is building stuff, it just works everywhere, right? You don't have to do separate stuff in different location. No, it's just if it runs on Azure, you can deploy it if you want in a separate region, but even for voice. And that was the interesting piece for me when we looked at it at the very beginning. We were able to build it the way that the voice stream never leaves the customer's tenant. And this brings you the possibility for call quality and latency, which drops dramatically, even though we're going to control the call out of Europe. If that's the case in some customers, there's no delay. There is no bad voice quality, which is dramatically bad in a contact center scenario. But that's not going to happen. And I was really impressed when I saw that when Microsoft first reached out to us on, hey, this is how we're going to build it. I was super excited. And as of today, when we circle back to where our customers are just everywhere, right? We are able to serve them and all the sizes. We also go down to 50 people when they have 4 or 5, because it's so easy deployable as well when you go for as a service. It's not a 1 month or 3 months project anymore. It's basically a 2 days and you're up and running. Or we even did it once on a LinkedIn webcast with a world record with a contact center ready in 27 minutes, I think it was. So, and this is really kind of the new world as we are today, right? And now we are looking on CPaaS on what's next.
Yeah, Dawn Marie, it's interesting. I mean, as as these services evolve. I mean, we all remember the early days of VoIP and even Microsoft voice products. The voice quality, you'd want to make a phone call instead of getting on a VoIP call, but that's changed and evolved. And now, gosh, I get better voice quality on mobile or on over the top or other service on voice than I would on, the PSTN, with HD and spatial audio and all this. So voice is very, very much alive.
It is. So I agree with the point that Philippe made that right now I'm not necessarily seeing the vertical apps that I thought I would out the door, but I think that's because people are solving for the horizontal. So mobility that you just mentioned is a huge horizontal that people are trying to solve for because their employees are all over the place now. They're not necessarily sitting at a desk in an office the way that people did more traditionally. I also think people are trying to solve for traditional problems that live in an analog world and don't necessarily transition easily to a digital real world, faxes, door alarms, elevators, et cetera, et cetera. And those are things that most organizations struggle with, regardless of what their specific focus or industry is that they're in. But I think the vertical apps will come along after the foundational ones have been solved for.
Yeah, great points. So, we're getting to the bottom of the hour here, but it's been really insightful and informative. And this is one of the, CX is really the top topic I find out there today in tech. Well, of course, CX plus AI as well. Philip, what are you looking forward to over the next weeks and months in terms of your own events or any, personal or professional travel? What's coming up for you and the team at Luware?
Yeah, you just mentioned it in a slight part of a sentence, right? There is this kind of AI topic everyone is suddenly talking about again.
Mhm.
I mean, since about 5 or 6 years, people try, or there are small startups who try to do it, and suddenly there is this big change with ChatGPT, and everyone can use it and likes it. So, yes, everyone thinks as well when you looked at Enterprise Connect, at every booth there were announcements, oh yeah, later this year or early next year we're going to have something within AI and blah. I mean, that there is something coming and this is a super helpful tool, I'm totally convinced, right? This is going to change again, in some words, the customer experience. Do we know how today? No. I do not believe what I have seen on Enterprise Connect that this will stand over the next couple of months on priority or when something will get delivered. Because people will find out, oh yeah, we have thought this will be good, but now customers are asking us something different, right? We have seen, for example, Italy blocking using of ChatGPT because of the GDPR law has been neglected. So how does this affect? I also think I've heard in the US one state as well is not very happy about it, but I'm not 100% on this. But there is some dynamics in this which will sort itself out. I'm also looking in this CPaaS Alliance to talk with people, to talk with potential customer or other vendors on what do we really see on how we can use that new technology to serve the customer of our customers, right? Is that really all sorted out? I mean, that goes into a lot, helping the agent with information internally, or do we want to build a full-fledged service IVR at the beginning where everything comes out of CRM? I think somewhere probably in between, probably some other ideas come up in the next couple of weeks or months on how we could actually use that technology to drive better customer service. It's definitely a technology that will change the industry. How much we're going to see and where and how we're going to see. This is something, yes, which will come out in the next couple of months, but rest assured we are on top of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you have everyone on the team looking at opportunities. Dawn Marie, what about you? What's coming up on your diary? What are you looking forward
So
to the next few weeks?
we'll be attending the Microsoft Inspire event. It's still virtual again this year. I would like them to get it back to in person, because there's nothing like seeing people in 3D versus a lot of 2D years that have been going on here. But I also am looking forward to seeing how quickly or not quickly the AI pieces start to evolve. I mentioned voice data being an asset, and in order to get really insights and attributes and meaningful data out of that asset, because it's so mass in terms of trillions and trillions and trillions of terabytes, AI is going to have to comb through that and come up with the different insights there. So I'm interested to see how that moves along. Chat GPT has come up so quickly the last few months. I think a lot of people are playing with it, especially in academia and writing blogs and things like that. But once the bleed over, there's a lot of things that have to be figured out. There's legal pieces of that, there's social norms, there's ethics, there's morals that are all going to come into play and really change some of the current climate of what's being discussed, at least in the US and our political world. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that and how quickly that starts to bleed into our workday. I hope quickly, because I'd sort of like Siri and Bixby and Alexa to get together and do some of my rote tasks that I don't want to do anymore.
Well, it's going to be fun and fascinating to watch. I'll be at Interactions in New York City next week, live tweeting and blogging, and of course, Customer Contact Week in Vegas, the third week of next month. Look forward to see folks there. And yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for joining and sharing your mission and vision, Philip and Dawn Marie. And look forward to updates. And until then, take care.
All
Thank
right.
you.